Good morning, afternoon or evening, ladies and gentlemen, Allincrypto here, and welcome back, guys, for what is going to be nothing short of another jam-packed daily market update with yours truly every single day around 1 p.m. UK time. We like to drop an update just like this one to help you guys stay up to date with the latest and greatest things happening in the crypto space, but also the broader markets. That's exactly what we're going to be doing in this video. We are going to be taking a look at the week we have ahead of us from an economic data point of view. Also, a lot of uncertainty going on. Of course, Trump has introduced volatility, to say the least, to the markets with all the policies that he's trying to put forward. It's my take that actually I'm a lot more optimistic on Trumponomics and don't think it's going to lead to this recession and black swan event that everybody's kind of looking for now. And actually that sentiment will change on a dime, certainly when the price continues broadly for not just crypto, but risk markets in the direction we think it's going to. In fact, if you look at where monetary policy is with the US, and we're going to get some clarity on that on Wednesday with the Fed rate decision, and then the minutes or the comments that come after it, will be streaming it here on the channel, is going to be absolutely to be paid attention to. But if you look at what's happened in Europe, as they've lowered rates, we've seen capital flow there. And that's because borrowing costs get lowered, thus the creation of money increases. And essentially there's this great game. Markets really have just become an apparatus for hedging fiat devaluation. So perhaps for a different video entirely, but let's try and cover everything that we've got. So we'll be looking at the week ahead. We're going to be talking about the fact that America's oldest bank has just actually now enabled Circle's USDC, and the majority of which is done on XLM. We spoke about how the evolution of money is stablecoins, or they'll be called CBDCs in Europe, stablecoins in America, even though they're the exact same thing. And then we'll finish things off with some Toncoin news. Now, Toncoin, of course, is Telegram's coin. Good chance it's going to gain hundreds of, potentially millions of users just as a result of that. Before we dive into it all, let's just cover what this mysterious crypto whale is doing. Now, this crypto whale has shown up on a number of occasions. I believe he's doing all his trading on Hyperliquid. And ultimately, he seems to have essentially some sort of insider information. Now, he put a 50x long on Bitcoin and potentially Ethereum going into Trump's most recent tweet, I think a couple of weekends ago, where he essentially announced the strategic reserve. We had, I think, a talking down of all that by David Sachs. And it appears that over the past couple of hours, the crypto whale shorts 332 million in Bitcoin. Markets watch closely, of course, because this guy seems to have some sort of insider information. He's been doing quite well. And the fact that he's... So, I still trade. The only trades that I really do at the moment, I've obviously short oil. I've been saying that for a while. I've got a couple of FX trades on. With the South Korean won, essentially going against it. But I typically, if I trade crypto, it has to be a very good setup. And it has to be... I invest in crypto because I think it's a lot easier to make money by doing that. But if I'm going to trade crypto, I'll do it if it's a very good setup and on exceptionally light leverage, if at all. So we might, depending on what I think I'm going to get out of the trade, I might not even put leverage on. If I do, you're probably talking max 3%, because leverage and crypto just don't go together. You probably, for most people, have better odds at the casino, literally, if it comes to trading crypto with leverage. And this guy's 40x leveraging. And I think he's doing it cross as well. So this is the short. The whale, who opened 332 short on Bitcoin at 84,000 yesterday, has set a take profits at 69,000 and 58,000. Oh. We'll see. This is from Coin Bureau. Guy's a great guy to follow, along with the whole of the Coin Bureau team. You've got to give it to them. They've really been educating people on the cryptocurrency space for longer than I have and longer than most people. The whale is back. 370 million short Bitcoin on 40x leverage. Bitcoin's current price at 83,800. Unrealized profits 1 million. Liquidation at 85,500. And so if it goes to 85,000, he's out. And of course, the lower down it goes, the more the money is going to be. And I think this is begging the question: what does this individual know? So we'll see. I don't see too many landmines ahead of us. Ultimately, still think Bitcoin is in a broad uptrend, and this pullback is just a pullback within a broad uptrend. Remember, we've had many of these style pullbacks today, and I think we'll see them continuing. We've had worse ones even in regards to the S&P 500, we've looked at the kind of magnitude of this pullback and really put it into perspective. This could just be forming a bit of a range that it could deviate below and then see continuation. And I think that continuation comes in the form of clarity from a monetary policy point of view. If you look at what's happening with cash flow, it's very much going into European. Let's just show you the DAX. DAX is one that we've got exceptionally right. DAX made our cup and handle targets, made lots of targets for us, but look at the European stock market. Absolute correlation here between them lowering interest rates. That's still to come for a larger central bank and monetary monster, which is the US. And I think that spurs on everything. And there's going to be a kind of standoff in regards to a lot of what Trump's trying to do at the moment. The headlines are just dominated by Trump. Trump administration sends a clear message to oil and gas industry. You're the customer. I'm sure I've been short oil for a while now, waiting for it to essentially potentially half in price. And I think that's going to see economic growth on top of them sort of easing on restrictive policy. But there's lots going on. Obviously, you've got the Russia-Ukraine situation. South Korea asking for exemption. Trump's essentially running America like a business, and won't that work? We'll see. Talking about the fact that whale's short, what could be some catalysts? What have we got to look forward to in regards to catalysts this week? The main one, of course, is the federal rate decision, and they're expected to not lower rates. I think that's about in line. They are going to lower rates. I think they've got rates coming down to 3.7 or 3.5 by the end of this year, but they're taking a steady pace with it. And actually, I think that's not particularly shocking. It's almost... There's a lot of double-edged swords right now economically, but I think it's almost a good thing that they're not rushing to cut rates, in my opinion, because it kind of shows that they think everything's okay. And actually, I did on Wednesday, I did a Patreon meeting where we actually looked at employment data, economic data, demand side data, any kind of data that the sort of official stats release, we looked at in historic context. And actually, we're sort of pre-March 2020, above in terms of actual performance. But we'll see. A lot of people revising based on what Trump's doing, and ultimately that's being seen in the markets. And once there's a resolve to that, we think there's that continuation. But the Fed rate decision obviously taking place on Wednesday. What's said after this is going to be more important, in my opinion. The Bank of Japan are expected to hold rates also, and then we've got the Bank of England. Boo! I'm obviously English myself. I'm a real mongrel in regards to, I've got Scottish, Irish, Welsh, and English blood sort of flowing through me, so I'm a real Brit. But our country's just a joke at the moment, and I don't think there's any reason for me not to put it in that manner. And I think there's so much potential that's just being squandered deliberately, I think. But that's just my own opinion, of course, on things. We've got a US initial jobless claims, etc., etc., etc. We'll see what comes out of all of this. The main one being the rate decision. And is that why this whale's shorting? What does he know? Because he ultimately got that long very right. It's almost like he knew. Maybe it's Baron Trump. Of course, I don't think it is. But he got that sort of last 50x leverage trade very right in regards to Trump coming out and tweeting what he did. Let's continue. So from a market point of view, guys, you still know the plan. We think things are A-OK. We think this is just literally a pullback in what is a broader uptrend, and you'll see continuation. And unfortunately for the altcoin sector, and we should all understand this, it just gets thrown around really with Bitcoin in the room. You are coming into that 30-weekly moving average, which is a moving average I like to use. I don't trade moving averages, but I put them on for relative strength. This is a good place for us to bounce. Also, CME gap closed, etc., etc. I think MicroStrategy is probably going to get quite a nice move soon. I think this is a bit of a falling wedge on MicroStrategy after it made that sort of bull flag target. Just to show you the wedge, because we've mentioned it now. So I'm watching MicroStrategy. Let's talk about what Jeremy O'Leary had to say, and how, it's our opinion that stablecoins are the evolution of money, and there's a great opportunity there because you want to be looking at the cryptocurrencies that are going to enable this. So mainly the ISO coins, and certainly as far as USDC is concerned, well, Stellar is the largest issuer. They're also the second largest tokenized treasury or bond chain that there is, and that's important. People sleeping on Stellar is massively. I'm very zealous about it with my community. And there's a link in the description to join that, by the way. Banks using USDC coming soon to a blockchain EU. This is obviously after the comptroller of currency essentially said, they've been green-lit from multiple different aspects. We had the Genius Act for stablecoins just the other day. We've looked at this. We really believe that stablecoins are the evolution of money. And actually, just over the past 24 hours, BNY Melon, the oldest US bank, is expanding services for Circle, allowing clients to send and receive funds for USDC transactions, boosting stablecoin adoption in traditional finance. The floodgates are opening, guys, because there's been clear regulation on all of this. The last little bit of news perhaps I want to cover with you guys is Toncoin. An interesting project indeed. I could see Ton go into the sort of $15, $16 range personally. This has obviously popped up a little bit after quite a brutal sell-off on the back end of Pavel being released from France after he got arrested there, I believe. And that's because Ton is trying to kind of do encryption and have like a private messaging service and now attaching the Ton coin, the Telegram coin essentially, to it. And this could see hundreds of millions of users actually actively using this blockchain. And it's an interesting project. There's so many interesting projects right now in the cryptocurrency space. Hard to keep up with it all, but that's what these daily market updates are for. So to recap, that mystery insider whale, we'll call him, is short Bitcoin. What does he know? We'll see how the week opens up. A lot of volatility introduced into the markets as a result of Trump, but still this pullback is in the realms of normality for Bitcoin, for the S&P 500, et cetera, et cetera. Big week economically. Certainly Wednesday, not only do we have other central banks, but we have so that's going to affect the Dixie. We have the Fed giving a rate decision and also forward guidance following that. And then we're now seeing, some of the largest banks actually start to actively use and utilize and integrate stablecoins, which is huge. And some interesting news on sort of Toncoin. That's it from me, guys. I'm going to love and leave you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.